Okay, the final big issue is that of polygamy. Now, this looks like a pretty big word, and it might be, but we'll break it down. Or here's the main thing you just got to remember that poly means many. And then you'll probably remember that polygamy is having more than one wife. And this was a practice among Mormon leadership um, in the 1800s. So basically from 1840 until 1890. So 50 years. And one thing that I learned when I actually studied this more in depth in college is that it was less than 50% of all Mormon families at the time were polygamous, but it was especially leaders and like wealthy community members that were expected to practice polygamy. And this is kind of why. Move this up here. Sorry, this says one underneath. Um, so you could study all the different reasons for polygamy, but here's kind of what I want you guys to understand is that one, there's more women than men back then. And these women felt like it's a woman's role. And this isn't just Mormon women, this was like all of the United States at the time. To be a wife and mother, to have children, like that's what you're born for and your responsibility. So now you have all of these women and there's not enough men. And it's like, how am I supposed to have any kids and be this mother and feel fulfilled in my life instead of feeling like I'm some crazy cat lady or some spinster? And there's also this idea of like, you couldn't get the same jobs or make the same pay as a woman. You could be like a local school teacher, and even that they wanted they preferred men for actually back then. You know, you could do like something where you're sewing, you could not a lot of jobs. And so there's not a lot of financial security either. It's easy to get taken advantage of. And so it was basically a many women are clinging to one man as like the economic support, the man of the household. We have this guy to protect us, both in terms of like money and like I can feel like I'm fulfilling my destiny of being a mother and having kids. And so while sometimes, you know, it did go sour and there's bad history, there's also a lot of good examples and a lot of women saying that they wanted it or like, you know, please marry my sister Katie so she's not alone forever because everybody knows she's not the best looking and she really wants to have kids. And that was kind of more of the vibe that you got back then of like trying to take care of everybody and make sure everybody felt like they were in a family when at the time, or at least when they started, there weren't as many men as women. And the Mormons felt that this is protected by U.S. freedom of religion. Our national government, our constitution guarantees that you have the freedom to practice whatever religion you want. And so they thought this should fall under that, but the national government said no. And you're going to read or see in the next lesson. So after this, you have an exit ticket, but then there's like a reading that they pass laws saying like, yeah, but that's not part of religion though. This is just what we do in America and how we do marriage. And it's a man and a woman, which now they've changed also in our time. So interesting that they anyway. So that gives you your intro to polygamy. You'll read a little bit more about it in this unit before the quiz. And it was another issue for the US because they go, this isn't American. This is what we want America to look like. Why do you guys have to be like, you know, that our wacko weird child? Everybody else grew up normally and you're like this nerd off in the corner or whatever who like wants to have your own political party and you want to have private schools and you want to marry more than one wife. And so Utah had to make changes if they wanted to become a state.